Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Noob, your nice experience with buddies. I'm your host, Nick. Here with me today is my buddy.
Nate, haha, you were the first one that messed up, not me.
How's it going, guys? So you might be watching this, or you might be listening to this. Yeah. We've been slacking on the YouTube side of stuff, so we're trying to get a little bit more stuff out. So, I mean, that's it. That's all I need to explain. So, how you can get a hold of us, please, if you haven't already, go to our @official_noob, spelled just like the show, NEWB, ThreadX Reproductions on Instagram, ThreadX Reproductions on YouTube. Please subscribe, hit that bell. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff on YouTube, or at least we're going to be trying to, that god dang thou shalt not be named virus, because we don't want to be demonetized, even though, come on, we don't have monetization.
Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, YouTube.
Well, funnily enough, I was making like 60 cents off of our Vermintide video until their brand new rules came in, and you have to have God, I don't even know how many thousands of views to even be considered for monetization. So it's like they took money from me, man. They took it. Anyways, ThreadX3Productions@gmail.com is our email. You can write into us about any of our segments. Which, speaking of segments, we are going to be mixing some things up, and we're going to be adding some new ones. We're going to be adding some new things. We'll talk a little bit more about everything that we're adding, but let's get started with our first new segment, Week in Review. Should it be Week in Review or like This Week in Review?
Week in Review is a little bit.
Week in Review is good. Okay. All right. So, self-explanatory. We're going to review some stuff. Most of the time, we're going to talk about something that just came out, or something that we've been playing. So first off, this week in review, this time on Week in Review, we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Season 3 and our impressions on it. So first off, overall, what are you thinking about this one versus all the other seasons? Because for me, this is technically only my second season pass with Modern Warfare, since I wasn't a day one adopter like you. So what are you thinking about it so far?
So far, based alone on Battle Pass, on this kind of new tier stream, it's really good. It's one of those that I think season 1 in general wasn't bad. It was definitely their first, and I've said it before. It was way better than Apex's first. Sorry to throw stones, but I mean it just was based on what all was offered, and then with the fact of them basically progressing more, and for example, the free weapons that you get if you didn't get them on that first season, you can still get them later on down the line. You just got to do challenges for it, which is, cool. Season 2, thoroughly enjoyed the content of it. Ghost was in there, which made it a big selling item for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
I got to about 62.
Well, was it Ghost? Huh?
Well, I mean, that was Simon Riley for sure. That's who it is. And what was funny was, so another thing I'm enjoying about these seasons is how they start them off with an intro cinematic. So I don't know if you paid attention to this or if you knew about this, but from the beginning of this game coming out, people were suspecting that Alex was Ghost. It was a rumor, it was a theory that Alex was Ghost because, which I don't know how that makes sense because of the very end of the campaign. The little cutscene is okay, but whatever. But they put that to bed. They put that rumor and theory to bed with the intro cinematic for season 3 by being I need help, and Alex shows up, and there you have a side by side, which is really awesome. First off, and the fact of they are bleeding the campaign stuff into the actual multiplayer is really kind of universe building and interesting. But as far as season 3,
the fact that this Ghost is possibly Soap, that's the part that I was like, wait,
so no,
what?
he's okay. I get what you're saying. That was a flub. I think he's for sure Simon Riley. They label him as Ghost, and even in his bio, it shows Simon Riley. So I think that was just an audio flub. They But I mean, it could have been a knowledgeable teaser of saying, "Hey, soap is coming soon." So, I mean,
Oh,
they kind of
that's a
did
good
that
point.
with season 2
Like maybe they
by
were calling for soap, but he didn't answer. Instead, Ghost answered.
yep,
So maybe that's what they were trying to. Okay, okay.
yep.
You
But
sneaky ass bastards.
but overall, season three's tier list alone is honestly really cool, and they keep progressing for what they're offering and the frequency of it. The fact that you get 1,300 COD points, which basically, if you go throughout the entire battle pass, then you'll have enough to buy the next battle pass, so you never have to really spend money if you grind. My only complaint, which is it's a complaint, it's honestly a bitchy complaint, is the fact of the actual skin for Alex that you don't get until level 100.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they saved the best for last, so to speak. And I mean, especially since he's in the cutscene, it would have been nice if he would have been one of the instant unlocks. Now, like my biggest complaint, I have to agree with most of what you said, other than the fact that once again, I don't know, I don't have any frame of reference of season one, but I can agree with most of what you're saying. The main thing I don't like about it is that they introduced new skins for vehicles, and so I'm like, oh, okay, cool, let's check these out. They are the most basic ass bitch skins, and there's only one for each vehicle, and the heli you don't even get that until level 100, and it's just like a single color. So it's not like they add like teeth to it or something, like when they do the old World War II, paintings where they have the shark teeth or whatever. They don't even do anything cool with it. Instead, they're just like, here's a different color. So I mean, that color does tell people that you've been through the battle pass, that it does tell them that, but at the same time, it's just such a basic ass bitch color that I'm just like, there's no incentive. Like the incentive is Alex, obviously that's an incentive, but I'd actually say that about most of the weapons. Most of the weapons are very just kind of basic ass. Just here's a different color, maybe different attachments or whatever. But the thing is, you can click on R3 on the PlayStation to preview like the stats of the weapon, but you can only preview the stats. It doesn't tell you like what the attachments are. It doesn't tell you like what's so different about this.
So real quick, if you click on it, it brings it up in full screen and shows you what all the attachments are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you learn something new every day, boys. Okay. Well, good. Now I have to go freaking check that out, so I'm not an idiot. Okay. I thought that was so weird. It's like, why do I care about accuracy being better?
I thought the same thing, and it wasn't until I actually like pressed the button and clicked on it where it pulled up like what the attachments were and gave you like a rotating look of the weapon.
Good. Okay. So that's what I need to do, because I need to know exactly well, either way, getting back to my original point, the look of everything is kind of just like, here's the same weapon that you know and love, but now it's in a different color, and that different color is just kind of basic, and it's not until the later tiers that you start getting some that are a little bit cooler. So let's get into it. Right when you first buy it, you get unlocked Hardwire and Hard Labor. Hardwire, he's all decked out in some like really cool gear, and then Hard Labor is like you're Russian and you have your shirt off and you're showing off all your tattoos.
Yeah.
Look at this tattoo on my nipple. It's very nice. I like it. It hurts very much like bitch, but I take vodka to make it feel better.
Yeah. He's like, Igor might be one of my he's not my favorite like coalition operator, but like I like a lot of his skins, because there was one from last season.
His skins, huh?
It was one from last season where he was dressed like in a full like rugby sportsman stuff, and that was kind of cool. Hardwired is the base version of Alex, so you've got the prosthetic leg. You're just super geared up.
I guess I didn't click on it, I guess.
Yeah, you've got
that too.
Correct. Yeah, you have you have the prosthetic leg, but you're just super.
I was trying to do my research and get going. Okay.
with these weird ass like sunglasses, and then the actual Alex, and you get again towards the end.
Okay.
You get that. I thought there was a couple other things that you got like.
Yeah, you get like a permanent XP boost, so it'll help you get through the battle pass a little bit quicker, and then some other stuff like those are the two main ones. Like those are the two main ones where if you buy it, those are technically worth the price of admission right there.
Mm.
Then tier 1 is the Deagle skin, where it's got like a really nice chrome finish to it with a laser pointer, and then it kind of sticks out because it has a little bit of red to it. The next one I find interesting is tier 4. It's this awesome like money bag emblem. So it's like if somebody drops the bag and then the money flies out or something. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. Then skip to number 9, Loyal Boy. You get a little charm with freaking Riley. It looks kind of like Riley.
Yeah, that one is actually pretty cute.
10 is the Yusef 1. Now you told me a story about these skins, so share that for anybody who might not be privy.
Yeah, so that's another thing that's really cool about season 2, or season 3, sorry, in particular, is apparently, and here's the thing, like, I love Modern Warfare. I have not been on the Reddit or started to follow the Reddit until recently, but apparently there's been a trend in the community where everyone was wanting Infinity Ward to incorporate actual milsim uniforms in the game, and they were posting pictures of different special operatives from different countries like Iran, Brazil, Italy, stuff like that, and different police force skins. So what they've done is they now have the operators separated. You have your character, operators from each team. So you've got like Ghost and Wyatt, and then Igor and stuff like that. But thank you. The base character is...
Hold on. Have you seen Young Frankenstein?
I have seen Young Frankenstein. That's why I said thank you. The base skin now, instead of it just being a basic ass character, is now its own thing, and that's where your milsim skins will belong to. So like, I think for the Coalition, the base one is like a Russian character, and then the US version is not US, but the Alliance is a base. And so throughout this battle pass, that's another kind of round of skins you get, is these different milsim. So like you were saying, for 10, I believe it was 10.
Yep, Yusef 1.
Yeah. So you get which is basically you just get a U.S. Special Forces skin. But that's really cool, and it's something it's something the direct community wanted, and they implemented it, and it's like, okay, cool. Now we're not just playing these like characters; we can play and look like actual military personnel, which I think is really cool.
Well, plus, especially if you're from a different country and you get to represent, like that's kind of the coolest thing. Even with the base characters, like in the skin unlocks or whatever, they kind of represent everything, and that's really cool because like Call of Duty in particular is something that's enjoyed all the way around the world. So I think that's actually kind of cool. 10 to 20 is just some basic ass stuff.
Now I will say, two of the main call outs, like the two free weapons that you get this season pass, are both really good from what I've heard and what gameplay I've seen. They're actually really OP right now.
Oh, really?
But the first one you get is the Renetti pistol, which, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I haven't gotten there and I haven't got my hands on it. From all the gameplay I've seen, it looks like it's a burst fire pistol. So I don't know if that's an attachment you get or if it's base, but I think it's base. And then the other one you get is an SKS, basically a new marksman rifle. But I've seen a lot of people, like I got tore up by the Renetti a couple times. I played a couple rounds of Hardpoint this morning, and I was getting eviscerated by it. So I can't wait to get to it to actually get my hands on it. But
speaking of getting to it, 20 top dog. We get Riley. We get freaking Riley as a finisher move. Like,
yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I'm gonna get a little bitchy right here and say that in the trailer of Warzone, not season 2, but of Warzone, they show freaking Riley and he's doing his finisher move, and we don't get him until season 3. Like, what the F, guys?
Well, so I think they did this direct because the community, because whenever they showed off,
probably got pissed off.
Well, when they showed off Talon, which was the new operator we got for purchase,
wasn't he just like black? It was a black dog, right?
So it looked like when they first showed the trailer for him, it looked like Riley was his finisher move, but they called the dog Sasquatch, not Riley, and everyone was like, "Well, that's weird." And then when he actually came out, it was a full midnight black dog, so it didn't look like Riley at all. So I think that they either had Riley's finisher in the works, or they were like, "Okay, hey, this is what people actually wanted. Let's put it in there."
Gotcha.
So
yeah. Well, then still kind of bitch move on Activision, because it's like, guys, come on, seriously, like don't show it in the trailer for Warzone and then make us wait a whole like 30 days before we have to unlock it by getting to level 20. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point is that you showed it in the freaking trailer. That should have been in season 2, but for some reason, nah. Other than season 2 was before Warzone came out, but I don't really think that's the point. Thank you very much. 24, you got the loadout box charm. I think that's kind of cool, you know, because like all the things that maintain or all the things that are mainly Warzone related, like I'm liking that because it's like that's the emotional attachment that I have to this game so far. Eventually maybe I'll get the base game, but I am a broke ass bitch, so I have the free version, which is called Warzone, if you didn't know. Then if you skip all the way to 30, you have the Asian woman and she's decked out. What's the official word for that?
You said for tier 30?
Yeah, what's the actual name for it?
So tier 30 is South Korean Special Forces.
Okay, gotcha.
That does look actually to be a man. It looks like he's got
No.
a mustache.
No, he doesn't.
So, well, he doesn't look like. I mean, there's like definitely.
It's a woman. Look into the eyes. Look deep into the eyes.
No, man, that's like look at the camera. That's 100% a man. Like that's not a woman.
You're looking at the wrong thing then, because that is not what I see for tier 30.
I mean, that's what I see for tier 30. I know what you're talking about because I just had seen it.
Yeah.
But
did I put down the wrong? I could have put down the wrong number.
I'm pretty sure you put down the wrong number because I'm gonna look and see for what. Yeah, because
there's definitely an Asian woman. She's all decked out. Literally, the only thing that you see is her eyes, which is the only way I was able to tell that it was a woman.
Yeah, keep going because I am trying to.
33. You get yourself a nice little Rolex looking. Well, I wouldn't know. I'm poor once again, but it's a nice watch. 40. You get your cowboy. Because you know why? Because I want to be a cowboy.
That is a dope ass skin. Like that one, Lone Star Soldier. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
50 is the pararescue one. That one looks pretty cool. Most of the tiers that where you actually get like the pararescue and the different, like I like them. They're all decked out, and so that's kind of cool. 51, you get the rampage, which to me looks like it was pulled straight from like zombies or something. So anything that reminds me of that, I'm totally for. Plus, for me, it is one of the only guns that they actually do something with, rather than like, hey, here's a gun, but it's red. 55, beef eater, gold plated, looks like one of the marksmen's, I think, but it has like a gold plated shotgun on the bottom, I think.
I think this is the FAL based on the magazine.
FAL.
It doesn't tell me specific. I'm using, by the way, which is another cool thing. I really like the ability where I can download the companion app and be able to like scroll through the battle pass and see all the tiers.
Nice.
Like that's cool. I don't have to load up the game, so it doesn't show me in specifics what that gun is. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Me personally, one of the ones that I'm looking at now that I didn't see is 52. It's Echo 3-1 emblem, which is just cool based on the fact that it's Alex's like call sign, and it's if you played the campaign, it's like okay, like that's a really cool. It's like getting the SAS logo from like Modern Warfare. You know, it's kind of like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Number 60, Burger Town guy, which is, he kind of just looks like a basic guy, but he has the Burger Town's t-shirt on.
In Russian.
So, yeah. 65, looks like a decked out P90, which is one of the first guns that I've noticed that at least looks
that's for sure a P90.
The base P90. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is that I'm spoiled coming from Apex over to here, because anytime we get something orange or whatever, or anytime we get a new weapon, it looks different. It's not just, whereas like in Call of Duty, it's not necessarily a new weapon necessarily, but it does have different attachments. And so when I see that basic picture, of course I don't zoom into it now, I know that I will, but when I just see that basic picture, and it's just like, well, that looks exactly like what it looks like in the game. And so for me, it's like 65, it's like, okay, this P90 does not look like a normal P90. It looks all like beefed up and stuff, so I really like that. 69, you're supposed to say nice.
69 looks awesome as hell.
Right.
Night vision goggles charm.
Little night vision goggle charm. I like it. 18 CTS FO. That seems weird.
Counter-terrorist special forces.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. I don't know what nationality that one specifically is, but that it's an all gray skin with police like uniform or not uniform, chest plate with.
It's almost like SWAT or something like that.
Yeah,
probably
very SWAT-esque.
Yeah. 71 is the Sand Sweeper,
which is the AK.
Yeah. So this is what I think they need more of, because I like the little touch of having like the scarf around the magazine, because I feel like it gives it more personality. So instead of just giving me basic ass colors and then some of the attachments are different, I want personality on all of them. And just having that scarf around the magazine just kind of gives it a little bit of personality. I wish they'd have more of those. I'm not expecting every gun to have that, but it's just like I'd like to see more of that, because once again, this is 71. So I'm doing a lot of work to get to 71. Along the way, I'd like more carrots at the end of the stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so right now that's one of them. 80 is the grass head. That's all I called him. I don't know what but he's just like, he has like grass on his helmet. It looked like, so.
Yeah, I think that one's
but
called.
It's not like
Tracker.
a full on like ghillie suit. It's just, sorry, what were you saying?
No, that one's called, I think, Tracker. Like that one.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
definitely a ghillie suit style, but it's like a ghillie suit light kind of skin for it. Honestly, that looks like it's Talon, which, here's a fun fact. What number did you say that was again?
That was 80.
Okay, yeah, that's for Talon. So here's one thing that I find really cool about the game. Talon himself is you can buy his character pack that has like weapon skins and other stuff, and it's $20. Which unlocks the character. Or you can get to, with, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if it is Talon or not, but it looks like him. If you get to level 80 in the battle pass, you won't have to buy the operator pack. You'll automatically unlock him.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. 84, the Juggernaut charm. Guy in a big ass like Juggernaut suit or whatever. That one looks cool. 90 is the Death Dealer. This is actually the girl from season 1, correct?
Mara, yes.
Mara, yeah. So she's from season 1, but now she's got a different outfit on, so that's kind of cool. 93, honestly, is probably one of my favorite ones. The freaking Tamagotchi. I hope they've decked it out. Like, I don't know, because obviously I've not gotten to 93. I'm not a Twitcher who has tons of money to spend. But it would be cool if like it actually works.
So
even if it's like super basic.
So it does. Like
it does? Yes.
Yeah. So this is just a skin. So the Tamagotchi came out, I think, mid-season 2. But basically you bought it and it's an actual like buddy you can interact with. Like you feed it and you interact with the watch itself. So this one is basically just a black skin for it. Yeah. I haven't bought it because I think it's $10 for it. So it's one of those I just haven't wanted to put the money towards it. But yeah, it's another skin for the Tamagotchi itself.
Good. Very good. 97 golden minigun charm. That one looks kind of cool. And then obviously 100, you get the Alex skin, you get the Heli skin, you get what else do you get? Isn't there like a gun or something?
I don't think you get a gun for unlocking Alex in particular. I know. Yeah. Hold on. 100, you get Indomitable, which looks like an assault rifle of some kind. I don't know the specific gun. You get the season 3 emblem, season 3 skin for helicopter, and then the actual Alex skin. Which there's another thing as far as the season pass I want to point out. All of their banners, or not banners, their calling cards. Really great artwork. Great artwork. All the ones with Ghost in particular, which was kind of cool. It almost told a story. Like it was different kind of scenes. And these in particular, like these look more like photorealistic than the ones we've had before. But I mean, they're still like I'm excited to get all of the calling cards from the Battle Pass here.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we think about the season 3 battle pass. Now the season 3 like changes. So Warzone in particular, we got quads, which is kind of cool. Adding a fourth person does kind of add a little bit more to the dynamic. But we also got quads and plunder as well, so that's kind of nice. Makes your team just a little bit bigger, so you can, you know, mess around with stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of like basic stuff. But then, what were the maps that they added for multiplayer?
For the maps that they added for multiplayer, they added one that was called Windmill, or not Windmill. Here, hold on a second. Let me mark that real quick because the names of them I don't recall.
I don't recall.
Sorry if you're watching the video. I am searching this to figure out what. Here are all the new maps in Call of Duty.
Duty.
Okay.
Have you played on the new maps yet?
Yes, I did. I have, except for one.
Rank them from 8 to 12.
What?
Rank them right now from 1 to 10.
Okay, so the maps for Season 3, the ones that we've gotten at release so far, I know there's a few more that we're going to be getting, and some gunfight maps in particular. As far as the core multiplayer maps that we're going to that we've gotten, called Tausig Backlot, which is a remake from Backlot from Call of Duty 4, which is frustrating because they added new buildings and doors, and it's kind of really camp heavy, which I don't appreciate. Hovik Sawmill. I know that one. I thought that this one was going to be the reskin for Village, but I don't think it is. I think it's a brand new to Modern Warfare map. And then they added one called Anya Incursion, which there's a ground war and co-op map called Anya Palace, which is rather large, and it was in the multiplayer rotation for a little bit, and it was just really kind of too big. So what this is they've shrunk that down to the main, like, actual embassy part instead of having like the expanded village a part of it. So it's basically just like a toned down map, and I like the layout of this a lot better. It flows a lot better because it's a lot more congested. Now, as far as ranking them, I have not played the Sawmill map yet, so I would put Anya Incursion above Backlot because there's a lot of campiness that has gone on in the past few rounds that I played. I don't really enjoy.
Right.
But also, I'm not the best person to ask in particular because towards the end of every season they'll do basically mosh pit playlists. So one in particular is called Flotation Oxidation, which is a consistent combination of rust and shipment. So I have found that I love that more than anything because I'm consistently getting a bunch of kills because it's such confined, fast-paced maps. Yeah. And I'm sucking ass at the base maps in Modern Warfare because it's been several weeks since I played them. But those are the ones we've gotten so far. I know we're expected to get quite a few more throughout this season. And then Gunfight I haven't gotten into too much, so I can't really speak for it.
Gotcha. So since we're in review mode, and you've been here since the beginning, we're 3 seasons in. What do you think about their new way of doling out like maps? Because obviously back in the day, we'd buy map packs. In those map packs, we would get 4 maps, sometimes 5, I think. But we only got those 4 times in a year. So now we're getting maps technically faster. I don't know. Like, what do you think about the overall? Now that we're 3 seasons in, what do you think about the overall dull out of all the maps and everything that's going on?
I love it. Because the first time they ever did something like this was Modern Warfare 3, and I thought that system was way better than the doling out different packs. Modern Warfare 3, their strategy was they were going to give you new content or a new map or a new something once a month for the entire year.
Right.
So you got, towards, when the year came up, you had a lot more maps, that you had already gotten used to, didn't have to wait until you had bulk packs. Mm-hmm. So that principle in general I love a lot more, especially because the fact I think it's stupid as hell. The fact that Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare, excuse me, sorry, that was my ring. The map packs are still $15 today.
Right,
if I was to go buy them now, they're still $15.
Yeah.
And like, my honest to God, my favorite map pack experience was probably Modern Warfare 2 because the Stimulus package I enjoyed, which is funny because Stimulus package, you know, what's going on with Corona. And then they also had, the other one was, I don't remember the name of it, but it had like it was like a carnival-based map and a trailer park. The commercials for those is kind of what sold me on them, and I wanted to outright buy them. But this strategy of like, hey, we're giving you free maps, no season pass, nothing to worry about, to not split up the player base is the best decision so far. Again, they have been making all the right decisions with their dole out of additional content.
Yeah, I mean, not being a Call of Duty fuckboy, I'd have to say that this is the better way. That there's got to be a better way, and there is. It's this way because, I mean, I would hate sometimes playing an older Call of Duty, and if I did buy, like a pretty good example would be like when I had Black Ops 3, I bought, I think, the first map pack, and it's because it had like die in Zyger jiggered whatever. It was this basically like this big like Nazi castle, and it had to go along with the Ether storyline or something. Not the Ether. What's the one where they're, you know, the Russian, the American? Is that the Ether one?
I think it is. The Ether storyline is either Black Ops 4 or no. The Ether storyline is oh my god, I'm showing my zombies lack of knowledge here.
So it's the other one.
I know. I think the Ether story. You know what? Let's fact check each other. We're doing it live.
Doing it live.
Black.
Whatever it is, point is, it was a big Nazi castle, and I was like, heck yeah! So I bought that, but I didn't buy the season pass. So then later on, if I wanted to play, people were always playing the newer maps. And so I had just perchance bought one season pass. I think it was a money thing where it's like, well, I don't have enough for the season pass, but I could get this brand new zombies map. And so that's kind of where my head was at. And so, yeah, now that I can get all the maps and I don't have to buy the battle pass for it, I don't have to have a season pass for it, I just get it. Now, the main question is, are we still going to be getting the same amount of maps? So far, if we're going by the metrics, it's like, how long is a season? Like 60 days?
I think anywhere between 60 and 90.
I think it's like, for instance, right now, which is Sunday when we record, there's 51 more days. So I mean, I'm gonna guess
60.
it. Yeah, 60. I'm gonna say, so 2 months. Let's say 2 months. So every 2 months we're getting 2 or 3 maps, right?
Well, for core multiplayer, yes.
Right.
They are also adding a bunch of gunfight maps, which kind of sucks because the gunfight hasn't gotten enough love since it did at launch, and they've done a lot of really cool things. Like the maps in there are really nice and really, really fun to play because they're a lot smaller. To answer your question, though, I 100% think we're going to get way more maps than we have in the past, especially based on Modern Warfare 2. Because
and so, that was sort of where I was going with it, in the sense of we were getting 4 maps every 4 months, and now we're getting 2, sometimes 3. And then if you add in gunfight and ground wars, we're getting 4 maps every 2 months. So it's like, that seems way more worth it, and it's free, and we have a battle pass that doesn't seem like it's sucking out the blood. You know, it's not forcing us to do it. It's completely optional. You could go through the entire free stuff and be completely happy with it. You know, and I think that is the best model personally. So now that we're done sucking off Activision, let's go ahead and move on. Now, both of us have been playing Control, but you were talking about how you weren't that far into it. So I would like to review that next week. So try to get further into it. I'm definitely like, all I'll say about Control is that this is one of the few games where I want to mainline it because,
Yeah.
dear God, it is so much fun. That's
Well,
all I'll say about it.
yeah.
Having said that, another game that I just rolled credits on was Days Gone. I talked a little bit about this in the past. I think the latter part of the story was kind of, I don't know, the pacing was, I guess, a little weird because you straight up go from one area to a brand new area. So the previous area, you've been gaining trust. You've been leveling up each camp because the more you level up the camp, the more equipment that you have access to. So you've been doing that, and then all of a sudden to basically get set back down to zero, it was kind of like it restarted the momentum of everything. Now, it was still really interesting, and especially where the story goes was interesting by itself. But just having that kind of momentum stopper, and it's like it was almost like this was episode 2 or this was Days Gone 2, where like all of a sudden I'm starting over from scratch. I still have some of my stuff that I had from before. And it was really cool. Now, the main negative that I would have to say is what a lot of people say if you go back and you listen to any of the reviews, and that is the horde fighting is the main attraction of this game, and you don't technically unlock that until the latter half, which is the second half of the game. And even then, it's like the second half of the second half where you go and you take down a horde. Once you do that, it marks hordes on your map, and then you can kind of pick off those hordes. Kind of like like fetch. Well, not fetch questing. Well, it marks it on the map is what I'm trying to say. So it marks it on the map, so you can basically, I guess, checkbox would be a better explanation of it. You can checkbox all the hordes. And so, yeah, it sucks that 3/4 of the way through the game is when you're finally able to do that. Now, in their defense, 3/4 of the way through the game is when you finally get some really good equipment so that you can take down a horde. But I feel like their marketing for this game since the first time it was showed at E3, we'll talk more about E3 in a little bit. But the first time it was showed off was the hordes. It was talking about hordes, 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 hordes. Here's all this hordes and hordes of hordes. You know what I mean? And the fact that 3/4 of the way through is when you first really get to take it on. And the first time you see a horde, you're probably gonna die immediately. Like it just kind of sucks that that's how far it goes into it. Having said that, overall, the entire game is really good. And it's definitely a game that I feel like it was just kind of looked past by a lot of people. A lot of people just kind of like, just another zombie game. And it's not. It's not just another zombie game. In my personal opinion, it is one of the best zombie games out there. Having said that, they're not zombies, they're freakers.
So let me ask you a quick question.
What's that?
Okay. So I was going to say with Last of Us 2 on the horizon. But saying that out loud, it's like, well, no, it's delayed, and they haven't got
technically not on your right.
So,
anyways, go on.
But I am curious because, and I don't want to compare the two, but let's say we live in a world right now where that delay didn't happen, and Last of Us 2 was right around the corner. I know Days Gone had gone on sale a little bit recently, so having played it and pretty much rolled credits on it.
Mm-hmm.
If someone was in the mood for a zombie type experience, and I know that they're two different because one's definitely more open world, would you have said for people to pick? Would you say Days Gone is still worth picking up, or have them wait for Last of Us 2?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I know it's not fair to compare, but there is a way, in some way, you can compare.
Well, in a lot of ways, I would have to say that Days Gone is almost like Last of Us in the open world.
It seemed to me, based on coverage and footage, that it's a combination of State of Decay and Last of Us.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could see, because there are certain, like, you can level up your camp and stuff like that, and you can do that in State of Decay as well. So yeah, in a way, and even the crafting system really reminds me of The Last of Us, because like you have to get like sterilizer and some cloth to make med pack, or sterilizer, or not sterilizer, kerosene, a cloth, and a beer bottle to make a Molotov. So it's very reminiscent of like the crafting from The Last of Us. So I mean, it's not an unfair comparison, because I really do feel like this is the what if The Last of Us was in a giant open world where you got to ride around on a motorcycle, and for me it's like it's a good description. It's very apt, because I do feel like, especially when you have the stealth moments where you can go in, you can take down a hideout completely stealthily. That's very Last of Us. Like it feels like The Last of Us, so it's not an unfair comparison, but the part that is unfair is that nothing compares to The Last of Us. And even though obviously we have not played The Last of Us 2, I do not deny, or I do not think that anything will come close.
Based on that demo of Ellie kind of going around and interacting with those human characters that we saw from E3, like I could feel the tension not even playing it. And could tell that my heart's going to be like fluttering playing this game.
Oh yeah.
So I know the tension is a lot more, because it's just like The Last of Us in some ways. Like it's like slow progressive tension. Like you are trying to survive, which you are in Days Gone, but you're more, it's not like a quiet like stealth approach. It's like, oh, there is like thousands of freakers running towards me, and so that's the tension.
Yeah, that it's different. That's all I can say, is that it's like The Last of Us. You can very much call it that, but it is so different in a way, because even like, I don't know, yeah, it's just different. That's all I can say. However, yeah, if you put Last of Us next to it, no contest whatsoever. The only thing I could say is that if you're strapped on money, the Days Gone would be a better choice, just because it's like you do get probably more out of it, because I'm probably like 50-60 hours plus into the game and I finally rolled credits. Granted, that is because I'm not a completionist in that I've done every side quest, but before moving on to the story, I would get a majority of stuff. So I'd say probably 70 to 75%, and I'm 50 or 60 hours in, versus The Last of Us, which the story is uncomparable to Days Gone. It's so much better. It's Naughty Dog. It is freaking Naughty Dog. So its story is obviously going to be 10 times better. The animation is going to be 10 times better. Everything is going to be 10 times better, because it's Naughty Dog and they are gold tier. Sony Bend, as awesome as the game is silver tier. Like, just, it's got a nice silver medal. Where was my point going? Oh, if you didn't have enough money. So if you didn't have enough money, or because it's being delayed indefinitely, if you see it on sale, go for it. 100% go for it. Because like I said, it's just something a lot of people look past. And maybe they look past because they just see it. Oh, here's another zombie guy. And I just don't feel like that does the game justice. So, but I'm glad that I rolled credits on it. I had a lot of fun with it. It definitely wasn't a game that I mainlined, so I'll give you that. But yeah. So that's it for our reviews. This week's game is going to be Blackout. Obviously, last week's game was supposed to be Blackout, and then unfortunately, I forgot. Oh yeah, you need PlayStation Plus to be able to play that. Dealing with everything that's been going on lately, my PlayStation Plus lapsed. I will be getting it again, very soon. So we're just going to have to move that back one week, and we're going to do Blackout this week. So that means that next week will be our Battle Royale Blackout. All right. So let's move on to our WTF is this game. Well, wait, hold on. We changed it. Yeah. WTF this game is. Oh. All right. So this one's a good one. This one's a good one. Have you looked at it yet?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I have questions.
All right. Well, let me get the trailer up and going.
So while he's doing that, the name of the game is my wife shaking the catnip at my cat to get him out of the room, who's sleeping. He is He is
Come on.
sleeping, thank you. Oh, yeah. My cat's a pothead, so.
Get him. Get it. Come on. Come on. There we go. Anyways, continue.
The name of the game this week is Fight of Animals, which immediately kind of sounds like Life of Black Tiger in a way, because it's very simple, but very, it leaves you with questions.
Yeah.
But then the trailer itself leaves you with many more questions. So do you have that queued up?
Yeah, give me a second.
Do you have that queued up?
Hold on.
I gave you a second. It's a nice pregnant pause there for you guys.
All right. You ready, Freddy?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and go ahead and play. Digital Crafter is the maker of it. It's like people freaked out when Fortnite had that like muscular cat, and this game was all like, hold my beer.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like unpolished furry game.
Power Hook Dog,
Yeah.
Mighty Fox,
Yeah, because there's animal, walking cat, magic
Squirrel.
Crowilla. Oh my god, Muscle Beluga. Like I don't know what I'm watching. Like I've had a very.
But hey, you can have a network battle of up to 8 players. Hello. Assist mode. 2 buttons are required only. What? Is that literally what I just said? Choose your. So yeah, basically it's animals in a fight, but like the animals are like they know like, do you even bench, bruh? Like they're that type of animal. They all have like way too much muscles. Like they have a corgi. It's got not a 6-pack. It's got like a 12-pack, one for each nipple. Like it's such a weird game. This is the most perfect game for WTF is this game, because it's just like it's so out there. It's like, Tekken, and they have their fun little bear or whatever. It's like, well, what if we just make all of the characters a weird ass animal? And that's what Fight of Animals. Wait, it's like Fight of Animals. Hold on, I'm back at the beginning. It's Fight of Animals, like Legend of something something. Hold on.
Legends of the Furry Butthole.
Legends of the Strongest Creature. Like, what the hell, man? It's such a weird game. What we're looking at is the Switch version. I can't remember if it's on more or not.
It's on Steam and Switch so far as what the titles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mighty Fox, Walking Cat, like it's just a Crowrilla. Some of these names, Muscle Beluga, Network Battle, maximum 8 players available in one room. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not a marketer, but it's just like, it's so weird. It's like, here's assist mode. And then here's the typo. It's worded in a weird. So they have assist mode, 2 buttons required only. Now the required is smaller. So I don't know if you're supposed to obviously read it as 2 buttons only required, but either way, it's 2 buttons required only. Like, that's the way it is on the screen. It's like, okay, English is a second language to you, apparently.
Yeah, it's.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's just overall very strange. Like some
Yeah.
of these animals are weirdly erotic. Like have 6-packs
Right.
and like just.
Goodness.
This is definitely a passion project for someone. I don't want to know what their passions are. I'll just put it out front like that.
I mean, as always, this link will always be in the description. So, look out for that. Look at this game and just laugh along with us, because it's all in good fun. Like it's all in good fun. That's all I can say about it. Is like, oh man. Like, at least this game doesn't look horrible. We'll put it that way, right? Because it doesn't look bad necessarily. It's just like, what the hell is this? What the F this game is, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. That's this episode of WTF This Game Is. Up next, patch up the ship. All right. Here's where we're going to talk about some updates, some new stuff, some news itself. Paladins, if you're playing that, which you should be, because I've already told you about how awesome that game is, and it's basically free, obviously, so you can just go play that. You know, Overwatch is too expensive, okay? They're charging you up the ass with like loot boxes and stuff. Paladins has loot boxes, let me be clear, but it's free, so why the hell not? Paladins is having a ×2 until the 29th. So you can go in there and you can rank the F up. Actually, I just got my wife into it, so we're starting to play that together. I'm playing on the Switch, she's playing on the PlayStation or whatever. It's really fun. Yeah. Valorant, if you haven't heard of this game, it's basically like, what if CSGO and Overwatch had a baby? IGN just put out a video, once again, we'll leave it in the description, of all of the characters and their ultimates and, you know, abilities and everything. After going through this video and looking at everything, I'm like, I'm a little bit more excited. Like, I've never been high on games that you only get one life. You know, battle royales are kind of a different animal because it's you can survive a lot longer, you know, whereas like Siege and CS:GO, you're in such a confined area, you could die within like seconds, and it's like, oh, okay, let me just sit around here for 2 minutes. So, but after watching this, I'm like, okay, I might want to try this out. I mean, what are you thinking about Valorant?
For me, Valorant, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I remember I had a buddy of mine who wanted me to get into CS:GO like a long time ago, and I tried it, and it's kind of too twitchy for me in terms of like I guess one of those, if I played more of it, I could definitely get good at it. But like, there's so many people who have played it since Counter-Strike came out and have mastered the controls of it. So it's like very. Like, if you're not starting out with people who are starting out like you, I mean, it's very overwhelming. But I in general, I like competition, and I like the idea of, you know, a reputable company coming from really working on a single game for so many years, being League, and then deciding, hey, let's do something different. Let's do a completely different multiplayer experience. Not different for them, not different as a whole. But, you know, let's compete with Counter-Strike, because they have not been competed with, I think, really ever. You know, not
there's a couple of rip-offs on Steam, and there's probably a couple of rip-offs on mobile or whatever, but like, does that really count? Like, this is the first time like they're going for that jugular, and they really want to stick it to CS:GO and be like, all right, here's a legitimate alternative.
Yeah, and that's honestly what this looks like. I mean, it could very well not do as good as everyone thinks, but I know that in particular, Riot is putting a lot of effort in speaking about things that people have been wanting for years for a reason, because, you know, people have been wanting it from Counter-Strike. And, you know, they might not have gotten it. And like, I know when this game was when it was listed as Project A, like, one of the main things they were talking about was right off the bat, hey, this is our server experience. Like, we're going to give you an experience like no other. We're really going to focus on anti-cheat, you know, doing things that people who play it professionally have been wanting for years now, and actually listening is what kind of got most people intrigued, as well as the whole idea of, having some hero like mechanics with the different character variety and abilities and stuff like that. So this is a game that I don't think I'm going to play at this moment, just because I mean, it's something I might definitely try, but I'm for sure going to watch it from afar and be fascinated to see how this ends up doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is, and Apex is probably one of the provers. It's like when you take a formula, but then you add a little bit more strategy to it, because now you have like classes and stuff. That always kind of adds to it. I don't think, as long as you do it right, let's put it that way. As long as you do it right, it never detracts from the core experience, because your core experience is CS:GO. It's, you know, go plant this or go do this. You have one life. Good luck. So you always have that, but then adding in the classes just adds so many layers to it. because obviously it's not just like, oh, hey, I'm a healer or I'm a breacher or something like that. It's I'm a healer. This guy's the breacher. This guy's this, so on and so forth. And it's always good. Always good to just add some variety into it. And I do feel like this is, especially with how popular Overwatch got, this is definitely a competitor for CS:GO, and it's definitely something that we have to look out for. And I definitely, am I saying definitely too much?
Definitely.
Definitely. Excuse me. I usually wouldn't pay attention to this, but it is the colorful characters. It is the strategy behind choosing your class and the fact that maybe I don't have to be a slayer, because that's always something that I like about class-based systems, is that maybe I don't have to be a slayer. Maybe I don't have to be the person who's getting all the kills. Instead, I can be the person healing the person who gets all the kills. I could be the one reviving the person who's getting all the kills. And any time that a game can add something like that into the game is awesome. Perfect example, in Paladins, my wife was playing with me. She played as Ruckus. So she's the big mech, she's the front line, she's taking all the damage, and I played as Saris, and I was basically just healing her the whole time. So she's brand new at the game. So if she would be dying every other minute, she wouldn't be having that much fun. But because I'm the healer and I'm like doing my job and I'm healing her, she got to stay alive for the entire 4 rounds of the game, because it's like I'm doing my job and I'm, I think out of the entire thing, I maybe shot my main attack a couple of times, but for the most part, it's like I'm healing her, then I'm healing the other characters, then I'm back to her, then the other characters. And like, I like games that do that. For her, I don't know if she would have enjoyed it as much if she was the healer, because it's like, doesn't have that immediacy, that satisfaction of it the same way that, healing does. She is more of the person who wants to be getting all the kills. And so that's perfect. She can be Ruckus and she can, cause a ruckus. Am I right? So, sorry, guys. But yeah, so then adding that style of flavor, adding that into a CS:GO makes it 10 times more likely that I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see how it goes. And yeah, I mean, kind of like what you were saying earlier, the fact that you tried out CS:GO and it's just like, this isn't for me. That's probably 1000% my, what would happen to me. I think I tried Rainbow Six Siege and I was just like, nah, I'm good. So,
yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on up.
Stadia went free apparently. And who cares, right?
That news in particular, like I'd seen the headline for it, I didn't bother to click on it or read it. I just feel bad for Google at this point. I
feel bad for anybody who actually believed enough in it to not cancel their pre-order. Because go ahead.
That was almost me. I was. So here's the thing: I have good internet, like I do. Like I have. Yeah. I've got like 400 megabit per second download, which is more than what they were saying. So I mean, it's one of those. I'm in a good spot where it would have made sense for me to do it, especially with the idea of buying certain games and be able to play it on my iPad when I go to work, if I'm on my lunch break. And also the fact that the premium edition that they were offering was $129 for basically a new console, for a controller, a subscription, and then a Chromecast Ultra 4K, which is $70 by itself. So I almost bought it. If I would have had the money for it, I would have. But at the time, I didn't. And hindsight 2020, kind of glad I didn't, just based on the fact that I haven't even heard good things from people who beta tested it, basically. By beta test, I mean got it on release.
Exactly, right?
Which, again, it's just like, because here's the thing, we're in 2020. Yeah, the world is in a really bad spot right now, but we have the technology to be able to do this.
We have the technology.
100%. So why this failed I don't know.
So spectacularly too. That's the thing. It's like weeks before launch. Obviously, if you ever listen to like KFGD, like that's all they would talk about is just how much they can't believe how much they are effing up this launch. And that was weeks before it even launched, and they're just basically crapping on it all the time. And it, oh man, it's like, hey, do you want 3-year-old games, but now you have to pay for them again on something that's unproven? Well, come on over to Stadia. And the fact that, like, yay, now it's free, it's like, okay, cool, but like, who cares, you know? But you know what I do care about? Segue. PlayStation 5 revealed their controller. Now, goddamn, does it look sexy? Like, on a scale from 12 to 20, how sexy is it?
That's a hot take for some people. I'll tell you that much right now. So I'll get here. Nate will get on a soapbox. I think this controller looks great. I have zero issue with this controller whatsoever. Looks alone. I'm going to get into we'll get into the actual part of it. Looks alone. By some of the concepts, do some of the gray versions and or full black versions look better? Yes, I will agree with that 100%. However, the two-tone white and black that's on the controller that we have seen looks futuristic. Looks like next gen. Yeah. You know, so I can see why they wanted to go for that specific style. But I'm hoping that people who are complaining about it are complaining about just the look of it and how it looks ugly, because this controller is 100% revolutionary.
Right.
100%. First time.
What's the main complaints? Because I haven't really seen that much, but like, what's the main complaints? Because to me, it's like that looks like it looks very sleek. It looks very like there's very few edges to it. It's very smooth. It's, you know, granted, you might not like white, but like, what are the main complaints about it?
I'm pretty sure just the look and the fact that this is the first, like, it's change. Because that's the thing that's interesting. I don't like change. Well, this is the first time they've changed that controller since the PS1. You know, the DualShock has been I mean, of course, the DualShock 4 looks different than the DualShock 3, but this one just looks a bit more rounded, and you know, it's got the touch bar and other stuff. So, but I mean, it's still pretty much the same controller, but just much better. Like this is far and away better than the PS3 DualShock, the DualShock 3. But I think the biggest complaints that I've seen from people is the look, and then just the fact that it's changed. I'm pretty sure some people don't like the fact that it's called DualSense instead of DualShock, but it goes into the fact of it being a haptic feedback controller. Again, this controller is revolutionary. The idea that I can play a game like Tomb Raider, and I can feel the tension of me pulling back the bow with my left trigger, and then the release on my right trigger, and then playing a racing game. You know, these are all stuff that they have stated, but like playing a racing game and feeling in the controller the different terrain that I'm driving on. So instead of being a visual or audio cue that I'm going over the lane, I will feel it in the controller and quickly be able to be like, oh, okay, let me go back around. It's
not only revolutionary. Not only that, but imagine you're drifting off to the left, and you start hitting those, like, you know, on the freeway, it's like, imagine not only being able to feel the, but being able to feel it on the left side of your controller. You know, you get hit in a first-person shooter, and you don't just feel vibrations, period. You feel vibrations on the left side of your controller, the right side of your controller. So now you instinctively know, without actually having to pay attention to the hit markers, you know exactly where it's coming from, and you can adjust yourself appropriately.
What's great about this controller is the fact of it's up to the developers on what they want to do with it. I just got super excited because I got to thinking about God of War 2 or whatever the hell it's going to be called. For sure it's going to be a PS5 game because it's not, you know, we haven't seen anything about it. But imagine the feeling that you got from the rumble on the controller when you brought back the Leviathan axe. Imagine if you could separate it between hands. So like you were just saying, if you call it back and you catch it with your right hand, you feel the thunk in the right side of the controller, vice versa with the left. So
not only that, but then like you could maybe feel a little bit of like vibration as it's coming towards you, and then that big boom right when it hits your hand. I say yeah. Uh, I mean, the haptic feedback isn't brand new. The Switch sort of has something like that. Like I know, like 1-2 Switch or whatever had a game
Yes.
where like you could feel how many
Yeah.
cubes were in it, and to have something so specific as to being able to feel the number of cubes or whatever, like that's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
that. Um,
This is the first time we've seen it like widespread though, because even the
yeah,
haptics and the Switch Joy-Cons have all been gimmicky uses. Like no developer has actually utilized from games I've played the haptics
right.
and the controllers themselves.
Yeah,
But
so hopefully nothing but good. I personally like the controller. I can understand not liking white, and I mean there's even jokes about like, there's one picture with just a bunch of Cheeto stains all over it. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but at the same time it's like it looks cool. And also there's so much room for customization. I guarantee you, because PlayStation 4 did it, I guarantee you we're going to have a blue one, a pink one, a red one, we're going to have all those. It's just that the base one is probably the white one. And so I'm okay with that. So, E3 canceled again. This is a weird one. This is a really weird one because ESA, as much as they've been fucking things up, has somehow canceled E3 twice. So it got canceled in person for obvious reasons, unless you just woke up from a coma. Hi, welcome back. You came back to a weird, weird world, watched 28 days later, and that's probably pretty close to how you were going to feel. But anyways, for obvious reasons, they got rid of the in-person stuff, and they're like, let's just do it digitally. And then pretty much they're just like, we can't make money off of this. This is stupid. I don't want it anymore.
yeah, I had forgotten that they said that they were going to do a digital conference because I hadn't heard anything that has come from it until now. But um, it's just kind of like a not surprising. Like just you guys are just making a fools of yourself right now. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like it just
I mean,
give me zero. It just gives me zero respect for really, like, I'm losing the shine and the nostalgic view I had on E3 because of all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
I'm ready for something new, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, we won't get too much into it because our topic of the show is going to be kind of E3 and the E3 in the past and what it is now and what's the future for it. So we won't get too much into it, but that's definitely kind of like a news line that just kind of caught me like, oh, hey, yeah, it's been canceled again. I'm like, wait, what? It wasn't before? What? So it kind of just caught my eye. Now we're going to talk about some things that are coming soon to TX3. So this is the part of the show where we get to talk about some brand new stuff. I personally am super excited about this because if you didn't know, we did have a show. It was called Nerd to the Third. It turned into Nerd Radio, and recently we canceled that. We stopped doing it. We decided to do something else. But at the same time, I've kind of missed doing 2 podcasts a week, and it's like, and 2 podcasts a week also just got us more content to bring out to you guys. And so been kind of mulling it over. We've been talking about it. What's an interesting way we can bring out some more content for you guys and, make it a little bit more diversified. So I'd like to introduce you Noob 2.0. So this is going to be sort of the spiritual successor to the Hubcast Hop-Up Cast, where the Hop-Up Cast was kind of just the BS cast where we just kind of had fun. We are going to still have some really cool segments in that one, but it is going to be a lot more kind of lighthearted. You're still going to get your normal noob, and you're going to also have Noob 2.0. So it's going to be labeled differently so that if for some reason you don't like Noob 2.0, that's cool. It'll be labeled properly every time to make sure that you can skip it if you'd like to. But it kind of gives us a chance to do a little bit more. Noob has always been about having nice experiences with buddies. You guys are our buddies, you're our listeners, and that's kind of what this has always been about. And now we're going to spread out to a little bit more than just games. Games is always going to be the focus. It's always going to be what we're doing. And so, but now we're going to add in like 20 to 10% of other stuff. So NEWB 2.0 is going to have a weekly grind. This is where this is going to be kind of our dailies, our spiritual successor of dailies. And this is just going to be us. What are we doing? What have we been playing? Maybe a little bit of life stuff thrown in there. This is going to be the new house or the new home for top 10. We're going to have a top 10 every week. And so that'll be kind of nice. I'm excited to just like start ranking some stuff, because Battle Royale is really fun because we can deep dive into topics about Battle Royales and rank them and what makes them good, what makes them bad. But I also like ranking stuff. It's fun. So we're going to have a new top 10 every week. Then another segment we're going to have is a monthly segment. Basically, the first week will be one thing, the second week will be another thing. So every first week you can expect binge watch. This is where we'll pick a series and we binge watch it for that month. And then I guess, am I explaining this well enough? So when we choose our first series, you'll have a month to binge it, and maybe we'll only do like the first season or second season. We won't make you binge the entire, like if there's 8 seasons or so, we won't make you watch enough of it to get a feel for it. Write into us, what do you think about it? What do you like about it, hate about it, and so forth. Each of the monthlies, you'll basically have a month to complete your homework or whatever you want to call it, and then you can write into us and everything. We'll make sure, it might not make sense right now, but we're gonna lay everything out for you. It's like, this is the date we're gonna do X, this is the date we're gonna do this. So the first week of every month we're gonna do a series, so we'll announce the series and then you'll have a month. I feel like I'm going in circles, I'm sorry. Market. I feel like, is there a better way for me to explain that? Because
I
it's
think
like,
you just could do it simply. Like you went into detail, like very detailed as far as the actual. But so I mean, I think you can just say, some of the things we're bringing is binge watch, where we pick a series or part of a series, and for that month, that's the show you're going to watch, and then So I think you just got really informational about it. So yeah, just.
All right, so then let me start from the beginning of it then. Sure.
And everyone watching, you got that live, so we're going to do it
again. All right. The next new segment we're going to be doing is called our monthly. This is where you're basically, once a week, we're going to have kind of a new topic to talk about. We obviously encourage you for any of our segments, but this one in particular, this is basically going to be sort of a book club sort of thing where you get to write in, tell us what you think about it. So we're going to have things like binge watch. We're going to choose a series and we're either going to watch 1 or 2 seasons or maybe the entire thing, depending on how long it is. The next one, we're going to have a movie. So we'll either pick something at random or I'll suggest something. Nate will suggest something. We'll always kind of alternate between each other. We're going to bring back, I've missed this one, our comic book club. So we'll choose a comic book and we'll read it. And then we're going to do an oldie but goodie. And so this will mainly be something maybe from the PlayStation era, PlayStation 3 era, or just something from the very beginning of PlayStation 4. This is going to be ones that maybe been out for a while, maybe something that we've skipped, whether on accident or not. We've skipped. We're going to go back and we're going to really dive into it and figure out, what's good about it, what's not good about it. Then the last segment, we're always going to end it with Would You Rather. I kind of like Would You Rather. It's just fun. It brings up really cool conversations, but sometimes we just don't have enough time for it on our episodes. So now this is going to be like the permanent home of it, and we're always going to make sure we have time for it. And that's kind of one of the main reasons to have NEWB 2.0 is we can just have more stuff. There's sometimes, like, if you look at our docket that we make every week, there's sometimes that we just have to cut stuff because we're just going on for too long. Maybe we talked about one topic for way too long and we just didn't mean to, or, we got deeper into something that giggity, that we didn't know we were going to. Now kind of splitting it up, it affords us the ability to do a lot more, I think. Not only that, but we are going to have a chance to be able to talk about something a little bit more topical, in the sense that when a news item comes up, sometimes we have the difficult decision of, are we going to talk about this? Because that's 2 days old. But 2 days old for us recording is sometimes a whole week old by the time it finally comes out. And so, now we're not going to have to worry about that as much. And we won't have to skip as many news items because now we have 2 shows to kind of talk and get into it if we need to. But if we don't, then we just go on with the business as usual. So that's our brand new thing. Those will normally come out on, hold on. Do we want to say Friday? Because we record on Sundays. Yeah.
I wouldn't give a date yet, just until we finalize that.
Okay.
Unless
what?
Unless you want to, I'm worried about us giving a date and something not.
Well, yeah, that's why I was wondering if we should make it Friday, because that gives us 2 days to edit it. Just a noob comes out on Tuesday, this one comes out on Friday. And that gives us 2 days to edit each one, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that cool with you? I mean,
yeah.
Okay, cool. No. So this one you can always expect on Fridays. Noob, the normal one, comes out on Tuesdays, and Noob 2.0s will always be coming out on Fridays. So check that out. I'm really excited about it. I'm just excited to get more content out. And maybe it's just the quarantine talking, but I've definitely missed doing 2 podcasts a week, and I've definitely just missed doing more content. So this is kind of a little bit of that motivation we need to just go ahead and put out some more stuff for you. So it's going to be on the same channel. So it's not like you have to subscribe to a new channel. Just look for Noob is your normal thing that you've been listening to forever. And Noob 2.0 will always be, it'll be labeled properly, I guess. I'm getting into way too much detail. I've been yammering on for way too long. So let's just go ahead and get into our topic of the show. So kind of as I teased beforehand, we're going to talk about E3. Emotionally, what has E3 been to you? What does E3 mean for you?
E3 is a staple to me. I mean, growing up, E3 and then in some regards also the VGAs were every year was a momentous occasion,
Definitely.
Especially before I was working, before I was started to become an adult. E3 was always during summer, so I would be out of school. Yep. So I would wake up that Monday morning, and then just turn on Spike TV, watch Jeff Keighley's game trailers coverage,
or G4.
Well, so no, I mainly watched I would bounce in between. I would watch Jeff Keighley stuff, and then I would go to G4. But yes, either way, you look forward to PlayStation's press conference, and you looked into Xbox. I used to love Xbox's press conferences. Those were my favorites, and it might have been because at the time that's mostly when I had a 360, so that was kind of but also thinking back on it, especially into these basically biomes that games have had over time. Xbox 360s was just spectacular. Not just because the console was honestly at the time better in some ways than PS3, just the whole their whole marketing and their whole approach to it, especially E3 was their press conferences are the ones I remember the most. Xboxes, anything from the first Kinect reveal to all of the Halo or Call of Duty premieres you would get at their press conference. And as years kind of went on, stuff started to change, but I mean, for me personally, like E3 means a lot to me as my like gaming childhood, because it was like every year was the same. I would watch all the coverage. That's what I did for a week.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of, and I've got other stories we'll actually get into, but as a kind of a overall, like that's
Yeah.
it means a lot to me, like E3 as a conference, just because I grew up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll second pretty much everything you said. And so the only thing I could really add to that conversation is E3 was the dream. Like, I dreamt of going to E3. Granted, I didn't realize that only press could go because when you see how many people go to E3, you don't think to yourself, oh, that's just press members. It's like, no, there's tons of people there and they're all fans or whatever. And so E3 was always the dream for me. Even before they were letting in people, I was just thinking of how could I get to the point where I would be allowed to go to E3, you know? And God, I just remember that was always my dream. So much so that when E3 really started changing, even before all this, COVID bullshit, when it really started changing, like I feel like it's been dead for a while. I'm just gonna be honest, because it's like Xbox left, Nintendo left long ago, but I mean they were still a really good presence, physically in the halls and everything. But like then Sony left and EA was doing their own thing, and just to watch it kind of slowly die, like it was like watching a loved one just slowly wither away and just like slowly just. And now with everything that's been going on, I don't know if it can survive. I don't know if it's relevant enough to survive this. Other things like Gamescom, PAX, things like that, when it's really like fan oriented, and so they're getting money from tickets and everything. Like, I really feel like those will be fine because they'll find ways of making it work. Whereas like E3 and the fact that how badly ESA has been botching it over the last couple of years, you put that on top of this and them just outright canceling it. Now they're not even going to be doing it digital. This time next year, as much as I would love for E3 to be here, I don't know if it will, because it's like, how can you survive something like this when you've already kind of been cannibalizing yourself? You've been eating your own arm for the last couple of years.
Yeah, with E3 in particular, I agree with you. I think it's been dying for the past couple years, at least the E3 that we know.
Right.
And I do think it does start with Xbox leaving.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the most fun, even as a Sony pony, even as the guy who only played Sony, I PlayStation 4 versus Xbox One, there was no versus. There was, I'm getting a PlayStation 4. But even then, watching the Xbox, watching the Microsoft conferences was so much fun to see how did they do it versus PlayStation. Who won E3? That was always the fun part, making it a competition. There were some years that Microsoft did better. They did way better, and Sony just kind of dropped the ball. And so it was always fun to to do that kind of ranking in our minds, even before we started a podcast, just kind of doing those rankings in our minds.
And like Xbox, going back to what I said previously, they knew how to advertise, they knew how to market. When I saw the first on-stage reveal of the Master Chief Collection, I didn't buy an Xbox One right off the bat. I actually bought an Xbox One I bought the Advanced Warfare edition of the Xbox One, but I think that's besides the point. Anyway, on the onstage reveal of the Master Chief Collection, I had just had a PS4 at that point. When I saw that entire presentation and that whole little spiel, I was like, okay, that's going to get me to buy an Xbox One. And it did. I bought an Xbox One for that. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, depending on how Infinite looks, like, because we are going to see something from Halo Infinite for whatever Xbox is going to do, which they've announced going forward, even this Corona stuff aside, that they're going to go all digital now.
Yeah.
But they're going to show
They're going to do a treehouse, a Microsoft treehouse.
Yeah, they're going to do something, and based on how Infinite looks, it very well might be the same case of, okay, cool, I'm going to get an Xbox Series X. You know, we'll just it's kind of one of those. They're good at that in general. So yeah, again, I agree with you. I think it's been dying since Xbox left, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Both me and you are growing up. We're adults, and I think the industry.
That was the dream. I'm old enough to make that dream come true, and the fact that that dream is now just snuffed out. Now, granted, it can be replaced. I can go to Germany now.
Yeah.
I can go to PAX. PAX is a lot closer, so I can go to PAX instead. But still, like that dream of someday going to E3 and feeling like I loved E3 so much that every year when all the pundits started bitching and complaining about, oh no, it's E3 week, it's gonna suck so much, I would always get so pissed off because it's a little, you don't realize they're so outside of it because they've been doing it for so many years, which, just to be clear, I understand that it's hard work and yada yada. That's not the point I'm getting at. But the point I do want to get at is that it was just like they don't realize how lucky they are to be there. Yes, you have to stand in lines. You have to stand in lines no matter where you are. Stop bitching. Okay. I get it. Wham wham. But like to always hear them just bitch and complain was just like, guys, you get to be there. We have to watch it on a screen, because being able to see like Hideo Kojima, but like actually be like, oh my God, he's right there on stage. Like that is so much different than seeing him on a screen. And like being able to be there when like Crash's shadow was walking across the stage with like Sean Layden or whatever the hell his name was, you know, like being able to be there for that moment. Do you have any idea how much I just would have like wet my pants? I almost did it here in my own apartment, but like actually being able to be there, feel the excitement and the absolute explosion that happened. Oh my God. Being there for the reveal of PlayStation 4 and having all the subtle jabs that they were getting at the Xbox One, I would have loved to have been there. So on that note, since I'm getting into it, what were some of your like best E3 experiences, E3 like memories?
Most of them are generated around Xbox. I can tell you that for a fact, because there are they, again, I was a 360 kid actually I was a PS2. I pretty much got I got the consoles later. I got
flip flop. That's what you want.
I got an Xbox 360 Elite about, I think, 4 years after it ended up coming out. So I was kind of a little bit late in the generation, but it would honestly be Xbox's press conference, because I can very clearly remember the Project Natal press conference where they showed like all off the potential of what Kinect could be and, you know, all that stuff. I was like, that's cool, that's awesome. But it also, like, because again, I'm a COD fanboy, because they had the deal with Xbox for a while, all of the new Call of Duties would have their first reveal at the Xbox conference. And as much as I love all of them, like Modern Warfare 2, I can recall, the one that I still think of to this day is the gameplay reveal and showcase of Black Ops 1. Because it was so cinematic, bigger than what we had seen before at that time. We're seeing you like escape from this Vietnamese jungle and get into this Hind helicopter and start raining fire, and just like, it looked balls to the wall, insane, looked crazy. But
on CODs, my favorite was, I want to say it was Advanced Warfare, the one where like they were dropping in and they were getting attacked, and so then like the part with all the drones and everything, that was pretty epic, because it was the first time, it was before everybody was done with the futuristic stuff. It was when everybody was actually wanting something different from Call of Duty, and of course they got it and they started bitching like little bitches. Anyways, but that reveal was like pretty epic because it definitely felt cinematic. But I have to agree, as far as like Call of Duty in general, all of them, like the way like the lights would go down and you would just hear something like really familiar, whether it be like Ghost like saying something or just yeah, like they always knew how to market it for sure.
Yeah, and then I think in later years, a lot of the PS4 stuff, the place, I think in the generation of this current generation, I really valued the PlayStation press conferences over Xboxes because,
Mhm.
again, that was the main console that I was playing on. I had an Xbox One before it got stolen and then bought again. So I mean, I had PlayStation pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So and one of the biggest ones of recent memory that we can't really forget is and I'm not going to talk about the Xbox One initial rollout whole thing because that's been talked about this entire generation, but just Shuhei Yoshida and Adam Boyes going like, this is how you play used games. This is how you let people borrow games on the PlayStation. There you go. Like, just hand it to him. It was just so savage and so funny. And just like that stoked the PlayStation versus Xbox, like who won E3 for
Right.
several years. So,
Mhm.
you know, that Xbox is going to be my answer as far as my main memories and a lot of their different conferences. But from what you said earlier, just the competition of, okay, who won? And then you also had Ubisoft. Ubisoft was always hit or miss really every year, but
The
sometimes you had some,
dancing panda.
yeah,
That
because,
freaking dancing
yeah,
panda.
but sometimes you had really good stuff shown off. Like I remember when Watch Dogs 2 was shown off, I was like, oh, okay, this actually looks way better than Watch Dogs 1. And I was,
Yeah.
super hyped for all of the Assassin's Creed reveals. That's whenever they would show the cinematic trailers that were always phenomenal. And so it's just, it sucks to talk about and to have like this kind of like retrospect. But again, like I get what you're saying as far as it is the dream. You're an adult, so now you can go. Me personally, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to be
Mhm.
excited about games coverage again, like in
Yeah.
that aspect. Is that going to be just developers and publishers just doing like live conferences online? Cool. Let's do something different. Let's
Yeah.
not have to. And I think that for several years, a lot of these developers and publishers were getting into the habit of spending so much money to put on a big show
Yeah.
instead of focusing on the games themselves.
Yeah.
Now games can speak for themselves. So we're getting into a territory where we're seeing more of the actual games themselves instead of the production value.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know Nintendo did it first with their Nintendo Directs, but like having like the state of plays, I'm really enjoying that because it's like it's almost like a very mini version of E3, but every couple of months rather than just all at once. And I really like that. I like the production of it because obviously it's all digital, so I really like that. Going back, I'm gonna have to say my favorite of all time was actually the first one I saw because like I was always a gamer, but like the reveal of PlayStation 3 was actually the first E3 that I actually kind of watched the whole thing to. And so like that was like the moment I became a hardcore gamer. Because before I was like I was a gamer and that's what I did as a hobby, quote unquote. But when I became a hardcore gamer, when I started doing games as a lifestyle rather than just, oh, this is something I do for fun. That was kind of the moment, that moment where it's like, okay, here's the next console. I can't wait for it, because I like even before then, I don't know how many games I actually like pre-ordered. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that was just something I didn't really do back then. Actually, I'll tell you what. Very first game I ever very first game I actually ever pre-ordered was Black. You remember that old first-person
Mm-hmm.
shooter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the very first one I actually pre-ordered, and it was because it came with a demo disc of it. You remember demo discs?
Oh yeah, and that was another thing too about E3 is that they stoked pre-orders because they'd be like,
Yeah,
available for pre-order now with this bonus, and
right.
and some people have a hate for that, which I understand. Don't give publishers like you doing that gives them access to, not fulfill the game that they're making. But another one to throw in would be Bethesda. Bethesda over the past few years, I think since Fallout 4, have been pretty much nailing like their coverage and being satirical about themselves in a lot of ways. But like that's where we saw Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 had a great showing. You had Wolfenstein 2, and a lot of their newer catalog games really showed well at E3.
For sure. I mean, they're getting a lot of crap nowadays, but back in the heyday. All right, so least favorite E3 moment or memory.
Oh.
Do you want to think about it for a sec?
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Okay. I'd say one of my least favorites was when they were first showing off the Wii, and like especially like when they tried to do like Wii Band or something. You remember that?
Wii Music I had.
Oh my god! Like, granted, I do think that was a year or two into the Wii or whatever, but like it was just so horrible. It's like I think that was the moment they're like, you know what? We're gonna pre-produce this. And they started doing Nintendo Treehouses. Like that was the moment when he's on stage, like just completely effing it up. Like that was the moment. That was the moment that like this is dead to me now. Let's pre-produce this so it looks all nice and sleek and everything. I said like one of my least favorite things, so maybe not a particular moment, but like moments. One of my least favorite things is literally anything sports related. Like I don't play video games to play something that I play in real life. You might like Madden, you might like FIFA, you might like all that kind of stuff, but that's just not my wheelhouse. And EA obviously being the ones that really kind of like they hold the entire market on sports games. So like I'd be able to get really excited about Battlefield or the next whatever, and then they'd have a whole like 20-minute segment where they're bringing out like famous players, I'm assuming. Because I don't know these people. I don't know why I should be cheering, and that's a very personal thing. Obviously you might love even you, Nate, you might love like football or something like that, and you get amped up for that. I know Coach back in the day when we had him on the show, he'd get super excited for something like that. But me, just having to sit through that. Usually, I always watched it after the fact, so I could just like skip through those parts because that was so mind-numbingly blah. I hated it so much.
I always skipped that, so I can't say that's what I hated. So I mean, I guess you could quantify that. Honestly, if I had to give you an answer, which I'm sure there's one in the recesses of my mind that I genuinely hated, but one of the things that I can remember concurrently disliking a lot was how every other year Ubisoft would try to show some kind of new gimmick. Like you remember that one year the way they had that laser tag game set up that they were advertising, and then every year of Just Dance was a new thing. I know, kind of looking at some of what people have posted online as far as memories, they bring up Mr. Caffeine a lot from the Ubisoft press conference in 2011.
Oh, the guy that pronounced it Tom Clancy.
Yeah, the guy that was like doing like that. Like that's most people's hated one, which I can remember cringing at very specifically. But
it was not a cringe that happened. There was laughter. You know what? Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Mrs. Girlwood, dear freaking God, I hated her. And the fact that they used it almost as a badge of honor that nobody liked her made it so much more infuriating, because it's like she was almost leaning into it rather than trying to improve her craft. But that whole Girlwood, like the thing is, she plays Lana. She plays Lana in Archer. I freaking love Archer. But anytime she would do the Ubisoft, I hated every freaking second of her being on stage. And it's not because she's a girl. It's not because she's African. Wow, really, Nick? It's not because she's African American. It's because of her attitude and her, like, I don't know, just her in your face. Oh, I hated her. Were you not listening for the past 3 minutes?
I was, but like I mean, I can kind of get what you're saying. Like for a couple of years with Ubisoft, like I don't feel like she was like trying too hard. I'm trying to remember what her name is. I'm gonna pull it up here. It's somewhere. Aisha Tyler.
Aisha. I was
Yeah.
pretty close. But yeah, like I think the thing is that with some presenters, they got better as they kept going. She got worse, and like I said, I think it's just because she started leaning into it. She started
Yeah.
not giving a f, and she's just like, "Screw it, they're paying me. I'm just gonna keep doing this." So the very first year she did it, I don't think she did that bad. There was still a lot of like cringiness to her performance, but I felt like she was a genuine gamer. But the more she got on about it and the more she just kept doing it, like it didn't feel genuine anymore. So then when the cringy stuff happened, it was 10 times more cringy because I just felt like she was saying stuff because she was paid for it rather than because she was a gamer. Now that just might be going off of her personal experience, like, they kept paying me, so I kept doing it. I don't know her personal experience, but for me, that's just what came off. It came off as like, I'm trying way too hard. I have to up the ante because, and it might be like, it might be an empowering type of thing. Like she got a bunch of hate for it, so she started leaning into it to
Yeah.
stick it to the haters, basically. And I get it to a certain extent, but it's like, do it on your own time.
Yeah, that's been the biggest complaint of hers for years. Is that specifically? It seemed like she's trying too hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, which is funny. I guess to say what would be the most hated would be EA, because I always skipped EA's press conference except for, and I would watch the highlights of a specific game I was looking for because they were always
Like
sports related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah, it sucks. I mean, legitimately, do you think it will survive after this year?
No, no, I wholeheartedly think that it is time to move on to a different way of showcasing games that's not convention based. I do think that the
So do you think E3 will survive, but it will have to evolve in some type of way?
I
Like,
think
here's the thing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Here's the thing. IGN is kind of taking the mantle this year, and who knows? Maybe they'll do it better. Maybe they won't. We're just gonna have time will tell at this point.
I think what'll honestly happen is the ESA will try, but I think there's a lot of other people, whether it's Sony outright, Xbox outright, or companies like IGN who are wanting to showcase games, they'll do it better than the ESA will.
Yeah, and I think if E3 was separated from the ESA, I feel like it could survive. But because of everything that ESA has been doing, piling this on top of it is really kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back. There's already been plenty of people just detracting that, or not detracting. Is that the proper terminology?
Yeah, detracting.
Just in general, just like maybe, I mean, like Jeff Keighley, he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. It's just, I'm out of here, man. Nah, screw you guys. And having a big name like that, this is Mr. Video Game Award guy. Okay. And for him to
It's
be
Mr.
like,
E3
I don't
in a lot of ways.
what?
That's Mr. E3 in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that too. But like basically him saying, you guys are effed up, I'm out of here. That says a lot, at least for the hardcore gamers. And I feel like generally E3 did get some, audiences that wouldn't normally pay attention to video games, but the people that would watch every single thing, every single conference, those are the hardcore gamers. Because like you and me, we might not have owned a Nintendo console at the time, but we always watched Nintendo. I always had a Sony because I'm a Sony pony, but I would always watch Microsoft. I like to see what they're doing. Like State of Decay, that's a game. I want so bad. Anyways, but what was I saying? Oh, so then ESA's involvement in everything. ESA's like just manhandling of this precious stone has been so bad lately that this is hopefully, because I would love for somebody to even if it's Jeff Keighley. Like I know there's tons of people who have a problem with Jeff Keighley and they don't like maybe the way he's running the VGAs or whatever, but if somebody else could take up the mantle permanently and we could just kind of get that toxic tumor of ESA out of the situation, I feel like it could be a new beginning. And that is kind of what E3 needs, because there are so many people out there who prefer PAX, prefer Gamescom, so on and so forth, that it really is, it's not just because Microsoft left, EA left, finally Sony left. It's not just that. It's a pile on, unfortunately, but it's just because everything together is just like you paint this picture to it, and it's not a good picture.
Very well said. Very well said. You were both kind of on the same page. I think that it's time to see what happens next with these video game presentations like this.
I mean, maybe there's some way they could still try to call it E3, but just as a big middle finger to ESA, somehow still be able to call it E3, like
Someone
instead
needs
of
to
like,
call it E4.
right? E6. It's double the fun. But the only reason it's called E3 is because it's electronic or
Entertainment Expo.
Well, is it
Electronic Entertainment Expo?
It's not the other way. Entertainment. No, I guess that doesn't make sense. Yeah, Electronic Entertainment Expo. So it's like how could they fit 4 in there? I don't know. It would be funny. So now it's your guys' turn. Question of the week is, what's your favorite E3? What was your favorite thing about E3? What was your least favorite thing about it? What did E3 mean to you? You can answer either one of those questions because technically there's 3 questions, but E3 in general, what did you think about it? What do you think? Okay. All right. Take 2, take 3. No. Okay. We're good. We're going on. We're moving on. Anyways, so once again, Battle Royale will return next week, where we'll be playing Blackout and we'll be ranking that. How will it rank up to Warzone? I think we've already kind of spoiled that, but in general, how close will it be? How far away will it be? We'll find out next week. All right. So once again, make sure to go to our YouTube. You can see the video version of this, or you can see some reviews. We got some really good reviews up there, and we're going to be putting up some new content there. So please go subscribe at ThreatX3 Productions. You can go to our Twitter at official_noob, spelled just like the show, NEWB, ThreatX3 Productions on Instagram, ThreatX3Productions@gmail.com to email us. Thank you guys so much once again for coming in. Now, I did want to kind of end the show in an interesting way. We haven't done this in a while. But sometimes it is interesting to go in and look at the analytics. So Anchor just added a new thing. Spotify apparently could look at some new things. So they've kind of added some new analytics. So I just thought for now we'll kind of go in and check that out. So looks like for countries, it splits it up, and we have United States has 78%, United Kingdom 11%. Good day. Oh wait, good day. That's not what I meant to say. Bonjour, right? Got it? No? Okay. Canada, oi. I'm still messing it up. A boot. Canada, 3%. Australia, g'day, 2%. Norway, 1%. Sweden, less than 1%. Netherlands, less than 1%. Germany, New Zealand, Ireland, all less than 1%. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of cool. Now, how do you guys prefer to listen to us? 48% is Apple Podcasts. That's not super, surprising. Pretty much any of our podcasts have always been majority of Apple Podcasts. Spotify, though, 26%. So still well up there. Other 13. I don't know what that means, but Castbox, Podcast Addict. Castbox is 5%. Then Podcast Addict, Pocket Cast, and Google Podcast are all at 2%. Then Spotify is able to add in age ranges. So 0 to 17 is 4%. Sorry. 18 to 22 is 16%. 23 to 27 is 35%. 28 to 30, or sorry, not 25, 35. 28 to 34 is 29%. 35 to 44, 11%, and then 45 to 59. All you old timers out there, hey, how you doing? 2%, then less than 2% is our seniors at less than 1%. So there's somebody out there. You're 60 plus. I definitely want to hear from you. It has to be like probably one person. And so that's why it's at less than 1%. But yeah, so it looks like our main demographic is 23 to 34. And I'd have to 100% agree with that. That's right in kind of our wheelhouse. That's kind of what we're going for, which is, we've probably said it before, but if you're slightly newer here, that is kind of the reason we censor. That's the age range where you're having kids, you're having your own life. And so that's kind of the reason we censor is that, I listen to so many podcasts, especially right before getting, I'm researching and everything, trying to get this podcast going. And that's one thing I always notice, just so many of them cursing. And I don't personally have a problem with that. Obviously, when it comes to editing, we're mainly editing out my curse words. But at the same time, it's one thing that I noticed that was a trend. Nobody really edits themselves or censors themselves. And so like me having a kid, I'm like, it would be nice if that was a thing. And so that's kind of the main reason I even did this. Oh, and I guess I didn't realize this. Spotify actually splits them up in gender as well. So 91% is male, female is 6%, non-specified is 1%, and less than 1% is non-binary. So that's kind of cool. I didn't realize they split it up that far. But females, hello. Thank you for listening. I am sorry for all the giggities. I'm sorry for all the it's ridiculous. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm glad we do have a little bit of diverseness in there. Diverseness. I mean, even looking at the fact that we have people from Great Britain, Germany, things like that listen to us, that's kind of cool. I like that. Of course, with just a couple of dumb Americans that have very weird opinions, and we're not that good at words and stuff. But I do appreciate you coming here. All right, I've been talking for a while. Say something.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if my wife just changed out the litter or what. Like I smell like
pungent,
like fresh litter, or I smell something that just popped into my nose. So my nasal cavity is a little bit off right now for some reason.
Is it deviated?
I do actually have a deviated septum. I found that out. My dad was like, "It's weird." Like apparently, like if like there's something right here, I breathe just. Oh, that's litter. Someone changed litter because I smell it. Woo. Stinky. Okay.
And that's what you lead with.
Yeah.
That's why you don't talk a
lot. Exactly. I talk about cat poop. Everybody.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Noob. Make sure you play nice with others.
And use the buddy system.
Buddy!
Stop.
Drop. Oh, yo, gotta wrap right up. No, stop. I don't know what happened. When did we start?